39. Science and civilization. Religion walks with ignorance, and science and civilization go hand in hand. Science is an activity and knowledge that recognizes, explores, and explains the laws of operation of nature, human society, and the field of thought. Civilization is a human conscious and voluntary behavior formed on the basis of correctly understanding the material and non-material worlds. Without the development and progress of science, civilization is just wishful thinking. The true sign of civilization is that there is no conflict between people and society, people and nature, without laws and regulations, without supervision mechanisms, and they can maintain harmony. For example, when we take a bus and eat a banana, how should we handle the banana peel? The uncivilized way is to throw the banana peel out of the window, only keeping the cleanliness under our feet, without considering the impact of the banana peel thrown out of the window on others. A more civilized approach is to put the banana peel under the seat and then leave without a second thought. A truly civilized approach is to take the banana peel with you when you leave and dispose of it properly in a trash bin. For example, setting up an unmanned newspaper stand by a busy road, with each newspaper costing $1 and a money box placed next to it for customers to make their own change. In this situation, civilized people will willingly and conscientiously put their money into the box, take their change, and pick up a newspaper from the top of the stack. Less civilized people will put their money in the box but will carefully choose their change and take a newspaper from the middle of the stack to maintain the neatness of the display. Uncivilized people, on the other hand, will take advantage of the lack of surveillance and help themselves to a newspaper without paying, or even take two, thinking to themselves, I might as well take it if it's there. They don't consider the consequences of their actions, nor do they think about the loss incurred by the owner of the newspaper stand. Those who not only take the newspaper but also steal from the money box have committed a crime, which goes beyond the realm of civility and incivility. Some may argue that civilization has little to do with science. In remote and simple villages, no one pockets anything found on the ground, and doors are not bolted at night, and there is very little litter on the streets. Are these not examples of civilization? This touches on the issue of understanding science. People generally think that space shuttles, ion accelerators, computer networks, maglev trains, nuclear power plants, cloning, nanotechnology, atomic bombs, and so on fall under the domain of science, while farming, cooking, working, and small-scale trading have nothing to do with it. Many people are biased against science, thinking that while it benefits humanity, it also threatens civilization. For example, the disappearance of the no one pockets anything found on the ground, and doors are not bolted at night practices are almost entirely due to scientific development. Some even believe that science is responsible for the creation of weapons such as guns, bombers, and atomic bombs that kill people, and that it is also responsible for the hectic pace of modern life. Furthermore, some people believe that resource depletion, environmental pollution, and psychological and emotional stress are all caused by science. Science is wrongly accused, and science suffers as a result. Science is a discipline and activity that seeks to understand, explore, and explain the laws and development of nature, human society, and human physiology, psychology, and spirit. How can science be blamed for how people use the knowledge it provides? The knowledge of science led to the invention of cars. If someone crashes their car and injures someone, can we say that science caused the accident? The invention of the internet is the result of scientific development. If someone uses the internet to promote drugs or pornography, can we say that science is responsible for it? The appearance of television, VCDs, DVDs, CDs, movies, telephones, and countless magazines and books is related to the development of science, but if someone uses these facilities for low-grade and vulgar propaganda, leading to people's lack of time, emotional apathy, psychological and emotional distortion, can we blame science for it? Science led to the invention and appearance of the atomic bomb, but when someone uses the atomic bomb to threaten and intimidate others, can we say that science is threatening and intimidating others? If all the negative phenomena and sins of modern society are attributed to science, then the following logical reasoning is completely correct. Xiao Wang killed someone because his parents gave birth to him. If his parents did not give birth to him, there would be no problem of Xiao Wang killing someone. Therefore, the responsibility should not be on Xiao Wang, but on his parents. Xiao Wang's parents were born from their parents, so Xiao Wang's guilt should be borne by his grandparents. Following this logic, Xiao Wang's guilt should be borne by the ancestors of mankind. But where did the ancestors of mankind come from? The responsibility should lie with the earth. Without the earth, where would the ancestors of mankind come from? However, the matter is not yet settled. Without the solar system, there would be no earth, and without the galaxy, there would be no solar system. In the end, the responsibility would be traced back to the greatest creator, who created the universe. The result of logical reasoning is that the greatest creator should bear the responsibility for Xiao Wang's murder. This kind of logical reasoning is absurd. If this kind of reasoning is not absurd, then there is only one solution: to destroy humanity and the universe. Is there anyone else who wants to push the blame onto science? There is a fallacy that says, science is a double-edged sword. This is undoubtedly like saying, the sun is a double-edged ball, an orange is a double-edged fruit, an airplane is a double-edged tool, and a television is a double-edged machine. Everything is double-edged, and everywhere is double-edged. The result is that even one's own parents are double-edged people. If we compare science to a knife, whether people use this knife to cut vegetables, mow the lawn, slaughter pigs, or kill people, depends entirely on the user, and has nothing to do with the knife. When it comes to science, we cannot avoid talking about scientists. Nowadays, there are more and more scientists, and it is inevitable for the development of society. This is a good thing, but the problem is, who should be called a scientist? Who are scientists? Scientists are people who discover a general and effective law in a certain time and space limit in the fields of nature, society, thinking, etc., and can clearly describe or explain this law in a certain language. Newton discovered gravity, he was a scientist. Einstein discovered the theory of relativity, he was a scientist. Madame Curie discovered radioactive elements, she was a scientist. Planck discovered the quantum principle, he was a scientist. Laplace discovered the uncertainty principle, so he was also a scientist, and so on. People who work in a scientific laboratory or work with scientists can only be called scientific workers, not scientists. People who can explain a phenomenon cannot be considered scientists. Otherwise, I would also be a scientist. People who work in a scientific academy cannot be called scientists. People who can make inventions based on other people's theories are only called inventors, engineers, technicians, and cannot be classified as scientists. Edison was not a scientist. People who can explain other people's theories in detail are not scientists. Many university professors can explain relativity in quantum mechanics to students, but they are teachers or professors, not scientists. People who discover a law but cannot clearly describe its principles can only be said to have high intelligence, not scientists. Therefore, the people who used Einstein's theory to develop the atomic bomb cannot be called scientists, at best they can only be seen as scientific workers or engineers. Scientist is a sacred title that should not be used loosely to describe just anyone, otherwise it will tarnish science and scientists. If someone discovers and explains a principle, they are a scientist. But if they later use their discovery for harmful deeds, that is a problem with their morals and social standing and has nothing to do with the title of scientist. It is like a person who makes a kitchen knife, which creates wealth for themselves and society, but if they use that knife to kill people, they become criminals. It is not right to say that the wealth they created was wrong just because they became criminals. When we understand what science and scientists are, we will find that science is a catalyst for civilization. Without the guidance of science, human beings are a group of blindly wandering animals, unreasonable, irreparable, and without a future. Science and scientists are products of the greatest creator. The greatest creator did not create religion, but the greatest creator created science and scientists. A true scientist cannot deny the existence of the greatest creator because everything that the greatest creator creates is scientific, orderly, and principled, and not a tangled mess. Walking the path of science is walking the path of the greatest creator. Who is closest to the greatest creator? Scientists are closest to the greatest creator. Human society is moving towards civilization. Today's society is more civilized than yesterday's society, and the present age is more civilized than the past age. If anyone hates science, hates the present, and fears the future, then take off your clothes, destroy everything you have now, and try to live in the primitive forest. 4. The Earth orbits the Sun, and its running speed is in strict accordance with the laws of physical movement. The Earth orbits the Sun at a speed of 29.8 kilometers per second, which does not allow for the slightest error. If the speed exceeds 29.8 kilometers per second, the Earth will fly off its orbit along the tangent and enter the vast universe. Life on Earth will go extinct due to a lack of appropriate light and heat from the Sun. If the speed is slower than 29.8 kilometers per second, the Earth will fail to reach escape velocity and be drawn to the Sun, falling towards it just like an apple falls to the ground. Isn't that terrible? It is well known that Earth's satellites should orbit at a speed of 7.9 kilometers per second. If the speed is faster, they will not be able to fly around the Earth along a certain orbit. If the speed is slower, the satellites will fall down to the Earth. The speed must reach 111.8 kilometers per second to escape the constraint force of the Earth. The speed must reach 166.7 kilometers per second to escape from the solar system. These are absolute numerical values that allow for no exception or negotiation. Now, think it over. Why should the Earth revolve around the Sun at exactly 29.8 kilometers per second? Why not any other numerical value? Without the calculation and arrangement of a superwise being, is it possible for the Earth to run for 4.6 billion years, obediently, meticulously, and voluntarily?